Have you ever felt confused about touch versus feel, say versus tell, hear versus listen, and watch versus see? If so, you are not alone. It's actually very common. My name is Luke. I'm an American English teacher, and I'm going to explain this to you. So I hope you're ready to learn some English. Let's get started. By the way, before we get started, if you enjoy today's video, I hope you can give it a like or a thumbs up and also subscribe if you want to see future videos. That's a small thing you can do, but it really helps a lot because it recommends videos and lessons to other people who are also working to improve their English. Let's start with tell versus say. What's the difference between these? Can they ever be used in the same way? When we use tell, usually what we're focusing on is the action of one person moving their mouths, or you could actually say texting something, writing an email, to communicate something to another person or people. So we don't focus on which specific words were used. It's the action. So we might say, I told him the truth. We don't know exactly what words were used, but we know what happened. Whether you were speaking it, using sign language, or texting, it's all told. It's information going this way to other people. Okay, what about say? Usually if we say, we want to be specific about what words were used. For example, I said yes, or I said wait. So when I use say, I'm often focusing on not just the action, but which words were used, specifically what was said. When you're reading an English book, often you see the characters say things. He said, and then she said. We don't usually use told in that way, okay? So if you want to focus on the action, use told. And if you want to focus on the specific words, use say. Now, sometimes you can have the same basic meaning, but you have to use different words, especially for common idioms or expressions. For example, don't say a word. That's a common thing we say when we want people to not speak. Don't say a word. Don't say a word about this. It's a secret, okay? Don't tell. Now there we would not say a word. We would say something more general. Don't tell a soul, we say. Same basic meaning. Don't tell a soul, it's a secret. Don't say a word. But they're focusing on two different things, even though the meaning is basically the same. What about see versus watch? If we use see, we're usually talking about the action of our eyeballs pointing at something. Now there's another way to use it too, but usually that's the idea. My eyeballs are looking in that direction, and because of that, I see something over there. What do you see? I see a wolf outside the kitchen window. Okay, so that's just that single thing. That could be a moment, right? What about when something is happening? So when something happens, usually then we'll use the word watch. So we see the wolf out the kitchen window, and then we watch it. We watch the wolf move across the field. And so we're moving our eyes to follow the wolf. We saw it, and then we watched it. Now, sometimes these are used in the same way. For example, movies, TV shows, will say, did you see the new Avatar movie? Yes, I saw it. Did you watch the new Avatar movie? Yes, I watched it. Did you see the new Avatar movie? Yes, I watched it. So that's all okay. They mean the same thing. But the focus is really different. I saw the movie. That's sort of like in the past, that's a thing I did. We're not focusing on the process of watching it. Yeah, I did that. We're focusing on it like an event. But if we say I watched the movie, the focus may be more on the process of sitting in the movie theater or sitting in front of the TV. When I was watching the movie, a baby started crying. There, we would probably not say when I was seeing a movie. We would use see when we're just talking about that event. Now, we can use see in other ways. We can use watch in other ways too. We're not going to get into all of that, but when we say things like, oh, I see, that's a different meaning, a different way to use it. So that's the basic idea, the basic difference between see and watch. Feel versus touch. Now, feel is a much broader word. We can use feel in so many ways. I don't feel good today. I feel fantastic, right? But if we're using it in a similar meaning to touch, we might say something like this. Ooh, feel this fabric. Maybe you're in a store to buy clothes. Feel this fabric. It's so soft. Touch this fabric. It's so soft. So there, feel and touch are pretty much the same. We're asking another person to put their finger on it. Now, you could say the focus is a little different because when you say touch, you're talking about the contact between your finger and the thing. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Don't make contact with me. Don't touch me, right? And we probably wouldn't say, don't feel me. That sounds a little bit strange. It's better to say, don't touch me. But feel then would be used to focus maybe a little bit more on the sensation that I have, right? When I touch it, what do I experience inside, right? So then we would say something like, oh, it feels so soft. That's using feel in a way that we don't use touch. We don't say it touches so soft. We say it feels so soft. So while feel and touch have that common meaning, touch the fabric, feel the fabric, they also have a lot of different uses. And feel is much, much broader, used in many more ways than touch. Finally, hear versus listen. If you hear something, that's kind of like seeing something. It's about your ears catching some sound. It's that thing that's happening, right? Whereas listening is more of a process, kind of like watching. Remember I said, I see the wolf, I'm watching the wolf. So the wolf is moving, I'm watching it. So I hear that, I hear a sound. I heard a train just now. I really did. As I was speaking, I heard the sound of a train hooting or tooting in the distance, right? But listening is more of a process. I'm listening to a podcast. That is an ongoing thing. I probably won't say, I'm hearing a podcast. I'm hearing a podcast. No, I'm listening to a podcast. It's going on. If I want to just emphasize that thing that happened, I heard that sound. Did you hear that? Was that a squeak? What was that? Hold on. Shh, I'm listening. Now I'm listening for a sound. It's quiet. I'm listening. And then we hear a squeak. I heard the squeak. So we're listening and then we hear it. Hearing is the event and listening is the ongoing process. Now we also use hear and listen in a similar way. We might say, I'm listening when I want you to talk to me about your problems. I want to perhaps help you, right? And then after I listen for a while, I want to show you I care, right? I understand deeply. I empathize with you. I might say, I hear you. I hear you. Now that hear is not the simple meaning of hear. That meaning of hear is I understand deeply what you're saying. I empathize with you. So it can be used in that way too. So I hope now all these words are clear to you. We talked about tell versus say, see versus watch, feel versus touch, and hear versus listen. If you have any questions about this, let me know in the comments. Make some examples. I'd love to take a look. If you want to learn more, feel free to check out my courses in the links in the description. You can get a free course as well. That should be the first link you see. That's my free course, Natural English Conversations. Again, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.